Hi and welcome back to Triple M. This next video is about getting the bike ready for the trip to Norway. So let's have a look at some of the things that need to be done and then go outside and get on the tools and actually do them. An aspect of my forthcoming trip to Norway that I've been thinking about quite a bit lately is that of luggage. My bike is a middleweight street bike, not one of the big adventure bikes kitted out with boxy panniers and a top box, so I'm going to have to be very careful about what I take, pare it right down to a minimum, which is quite fun actually. I'm quite enjoying planning and thinking about what I'm going to take, so I don't just chuck everything on just in case I need it. I'm just going to take the essentials. But even so, the panniers that come on the bike are very small, and here they are. Here's one of them. There's two of those, 13 litres each, which is next to nothing. But I'll obviously have to take clothing, things to toiletries and things like that. But I also need, which will go in the panniers, but I will also need to take other items for the bike, things like chain lube, oil for topping up the engine oil, puncture repair outfit, which is not like a bicycle one, for motorcycle tyres, and something to re-inflate a tyre if I do need to repair a puncture, things of that kind. So I'm giving some thought to how I might carry those outside the panniers but securely on the bike. So that's what I've been thinking about, and I've bought a couple of plastic canisters for the purpose, which I'm going to now take you outside if you're interested to have a look and show you how I'm proposing to fit those on the bike and how all that will work. So here we are, and here's the plastic canisters that I mentioned earlier. They're actually made and sold as container for the instruction manual for a forklift truck, believe it or not, but I think they'll work fine for holding tools and things, extra stuff that I need to take with me on my trip. You can see from looking at the bike there's very limited opportunities for where to put these, but I have got a set of crash bars, one either side, and I think I can manage just to get these to fit. I've got two of them, one on either side of the crash bars. Obviously I don't want to be on the outside, because if I happen to fall off or something, bump into something, it's going to take these off, so they need to be on the inboard side of the crash bars. But I think I can get them just to fit in like so. This one's a bit close to the exhaust, but I think it'll be okay. And I've bought these clips. They're actually pipe clips for fitting plumbing pipes, but they're just the right size, and they've got rubber inserts to fit on the tubing around which the crash bars are made of. So but I'm going to have to cut these plastic lugs off because they're just in the way. So I'm going to cut them off, fit a couple of these to each of the canisters, and with a certain amount of fiddling around, I think I'll be able to fit them one either side here and put my puncture outfit and first aid kit and things of that kind in them, which I won't need to get at all the time, but will need handy if I do need them. So first thing to do then is to cut the lugs off these canisters. Okay, so here we are at my workshop, which as you can see is out of doors. A little inconvenient when it's raining, as it is now, but we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to start to cut these plastic lugs off these canisters. Here we go. Just use a handsaw. This is going to take a little while, so I won't bore you with the whole procedure, but I'll fast forward and we'll pick it up in a minute. Okay, I've cut both sets of lugs off both the cylinders now, both the canisters, and I've just pretty much finished smoothing them off. Obviously the saw leaves a fairly crude cut, so I've just smoothed off the plastic where the lugs were, and I think that's pretty well it. I've done the other one already. and I've done both ends. So that's that one. There's the one at the front. Come off quite cleanly. I've just used an ordinary file. It does get blocked with plastic a bit, but a wire brush sees to that. So now the next thing is to take them around to the bike and mark where the bike clips that I got for mountings need to go. Having got those plastic canisters prepared for fitting to the crash bars, I'm going to put that job to one side for the moment and focus my attention on the pannier frame, which has rusted quite badly in places. It's looking in a very tatty state. It's going to deteriorate with rust if I don't do something about it, and now seems like the ideal time. So that's what I'm going to do next. I've put a wire brush on my bench grinder, and now I'm going to use that to try and get rid of all the rust that's accumulated around the damaged paintwork on this pannier frame. This seems to be working. I think the rust is coming off quite nicely. The wire brush mounted on the bench grinder is great, but it doesn't reach into small spaces, so I'm having to use a cut brush mounted on an electric drill to try and get into some of those smaller spaces, and I'll also have to use hand tools like files as well. So here we go. It's really surprising me how the rust has travelled along underneath the powder coating, and in places the powder coating looked fine, but actually as soon as you touch it, it comes away and shows rust all the way underneath it. Really surprising. Well, it is to me, who's never dealt with powder coating before. I'm using Hammerite paint, spray satin black Hammerite, to try and get as close as possible to the finish of the powder coating. It's not going to match exactly, but that's too bad. And most of what I'm painting is actually out of sight, unless you look really, really closely. But it's quite tolerant of being painted onto rust, as long as the rust is not loose and flaky. So I'm hoping that with 3 or 4 decent coats of Hammerite, it will be somewhat more robust than it was when it left the KTM factory. These are the 2 halves of the pannier frame, which just obviously I separated to do the work on, and they're now ready for painting. And this is the bridge that goes between them, that holds them together just under the rear tail unit of the bike. Fits in there, and it was so badly corroded. It's an alloy of some sort. It feels very, very light, and it's white metal rather than grey. It's not steel. But the bolts that go in through these holes and screw into tapped holes in this either side were so badly corroded that one of them sheared off when I put a wrench on it and undid it, so the head sheared off, so I had to drill it out. The other one, the thread was very badly corroded as well, but it did come out. But because of the one that I had to drill out, I think the only solution really is to drill right through to the other side and fit a stainless steel bolt instead of the mild steel one that was on there before, and put a nut on the back to hold it all tight together, and hopefully to prevent any further corrosion. Make it all stainless steel and plenty of paint where it's mild steel. I've just put the first coat of Hammerite on those 2 halves of the pannier frame. That's just got to dry and put another couple of coats on later on, and we'll see whether when it all goes together, whether it lasts a bit longer than the first time it was finished in the factory. The rear pannier frame is now refinished, taken all the rust off, resprayed the rusty bits with Hammerite, and remade the join with stainless steel bolts, and I've painted everything, and I've also put some heat shrink sleeving over it, which is shrunk and sprayed black because it was red, to cover the join so that water can't get in to the steel tubing thrown up by the back wheel and cause corrosion. I'm now just going to put some, as a belt and braces, some clear sleeving over that to bridge the joint, to make a double seal, so that I hope that no water will be able to get in at all. There's only so much excitement that anyone can stand, so in the interests of myself and my adoring public, I'm going to leave it there for now for this video and pick up the thread again on a subsequent one. The reason for making these videos is twofold. The first is to give me experience and to enable me to learn how to make videos, edit them and shoot them. And the second is in order to establish a presence on YouTube, so that when someone searches on YouTube for me and my motorcycle, the channel comes up in the search results, which it doesn't if there's only 1 or 2 videos up there. So that's the reason. There's no prizes for spotting continuity errors, I'm afraid, but that's all part of the learning curve, and I hope I'll get better at avoiding them. So for now, thank you for watching and see you next time.